Our first legitimate shot of winter is making its presence known in a pretty big way, especially in eastern and southeastern KELOLAND. Snow will continue becoming moderate to heavy at times, with temperatures, for what it's worth, are going to be in the mid to upper 20s in many locations. Lesser snow opportunities out to the west, however. Snow slowly tapers off overnight. We'll still get a little bit more, especially towards Sioux Falls, but it's going to be pretty cold, especially in central KELOLAND. Speaking of cold, a lot of that by the weekend. We'll talk about it coming up, but until then, Midday in KELOLAND starts right now.
Live from KELOLAND Media Group, Midday in KELOLAND.
Sioux Falls snow crews out plowing the streets as we see the first significant snow of the season. Plus,
major questions about Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin's hospitalization and when the White House learned about it. I'm Natalie Brand with the timeline and new reaction.
good afternoon and thanks for having us in. Several schools, counties, and businesses in the southeast portions of South Dakota are closed amid this recent and impending snowfall. You can see a full list of closings and delays on our website. It's also going to be scrolling at the bottom of your screen. The weather is affecting travel at the Sioux Falls Regional Airport too. Reports say snow teams are working hard and the airport is open, but expect some delays and cancellations. The Washington Pavilion and Orpheum Theater are also closed for the day too. Meanwhile, you can keep track of the changing weather conditions by downloading our handy KELOLAND Storm Tracker app. There you can find our live Doppler radar, get view of conditions across the state with our great live cam network. And if you capture pictures or video of the storm or just how much snow has fallen in your area, send them over to ushare@keloland.com or via social media. Well, the clubhouse leader thus far, if we can call it a leader, is Harrisburg with 9.1 inches. Right, Adam?
Yeah, but there's a couple of locations not too far away, and by not too far, I mean a tenth of an inch behind. And there is more snow on the way, so it's just going to be a matter of time to see just who ends up on top of that snow ranking. We'll get to that in a moment, but this is our Beersford radar to kick things off. And you notice where we have those heavier bands of deeper blue. We'll actually just pause this for a moment and just circle those around. One just extending south to Sioux Falls, moving through Beersford, headed toward Canton, going into Vermilion as well. And then a secondary line just west of Sioux Falls and just west of Yankton as well. Those are areas of moderate to heavy snow. That's the banding that we keep talking about time and again. That will just continue to pinwheel on through as we go through the next couple of hours. And we are not done with this snow yet, as we likely are going to be having round 2 coming around later in the day. This is what we're seeing as of noon Central Time. Harrisburg, as Dan alluded to, leading the way at just over 9 inches of snow. Monroe and Yankton both at 9 inches. Rowena 8.1. At the airport on the north end of the city, 8 inches of snow officially at the National Weather Service Bureau in Sioux Falls. Canton at just over 7.5 inches. Rock Rapids in Iowa at 6.3. Crooks 6.5. Madison at just about 5.5. Worthington at about 4.5, and lesser amounts out towards Spearfish at 4, Mitchell 3.8, and then Gregory and Brookings at 3 and 2.6 respectively. These numbers will change. That's kind of a given, but we're still going to watch them all the same as we go through the afternoon and evening. Here's a view from our camera downtown. Roads, to put it mildly, are decently covered. Even main roads have been a little treacherous at times. Please, if you must be outside, exercise caution and get where you need to be safely. There's Huron as well, and it doesn't get a whole lot better out toward Beadle County. We've been in the upper teens and low 20s in eastern portions of KELOLAND. Compare that to Rapid City, though. Yes, it's chilly at 21, but you can at least see the roads, and those roads are also passable. We'll continue to stay in the teens and 20s, not just now, but really through the rest of the afternoon. The big story, though, is going to be the snow that continues to impact southeastern KELOLAND. We'll go through updates on winter weather headlines, what we're expecting through the rest of the day, and just how frigid it is going to get by the weekend. A lot to unpack, but we'll go through it step by step as we go through your forecast in a little bit.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Adam. After a slow start to the season, Old Man Winter is making up for lost time. The snow hit hard and fast in Sioux Falls, and the city had plows out on the street shortly after midnight. Street maintenance and supervisor Chad Sunvold is part of the crew running point from the new command center at the freshly remodeled Street Operations Building.
We have a lot more devices that we can pull for information. A National Weather Service, your local broadcasting stations, radars, ground sensors. So we're doing our best to try to keep up-to-date information for our use.
We're going to tell you how the equipment is holding up during the first major snow event of the winter later tonight on KELOLAND News. In national developments, we're learning new details about Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin's hospitalization at Walter Reed National Military Medical Center. He was secretly admitted last week, and for 3 days, even President Biden did not know that Austin was in intensive care. Natalie Brand reports from the nation's capital.
Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin is said to be recovering well and in good spirits, but both Democrats and Republicans are expressing concern about the lack of transparency surrounding his hospitalization at Walter Reed. The Pentagon says Austin had an elective medical procedure on December 22nd and went home 1 day later. Then on New Year's Day, Austin started experiencing severe pain and was admitted to the intensive care unit. The next day, Austin transferred certain operational duties to his deputy, Kathleen Hicks, but she was not informed of his hospitalization until January 4th. The White House's chief of staff and national security advisor were not briefed until that day either. A defense official tells CBS News that the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, General C.Q. Brown, was informed that Austin was in the hospital on January 2nd. But Brown, who is President Biden's principal military advisor, did not inform the White House. As questions about the timeline swirl, a White House official confirmed to CBS News the president is not considering firing Austin over the incident. Fellow cabinet members also expressed their support.
I'm very much looking forward to seeing him fully recovered and working side by side in the year ahead.
In a statement, Secretary Austin said, "I take full responsibility for my decisions about disclosure and committed to doing better." Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
Our 8-piece series of reports titled Emergency and Hope on Pine Ridge continues tonight when we take a closer look at the state of emergency declared in November. Tribal President Frank Starr comes out, said in his declaration that law and order has broken down because the United States government did not, quote, fulfill the United States' treaty, statutory, and trust responsibilities to provide adequate law enforcement on the reservation.
And we asked for support with a state of emergency because the government is just not living up to their end. So we have to push.
I applaud the president for bringing this forward, but I do think it's just one step in a lot of steps that need to be addressed.
We'll break down the emergency declaration for you tonight on KELOLAND News.